We're about to dive into a hidden language, one that's woven into the very fabric of our reality. It's a story told not with words, but with numbers. This is the story of 3, 5, and 7.
But let's just start with a question, okay? What if the cosmos itself, from the giant spiral of a galaxy all the way down to the tiny petals of a flower, is speaking a language of pure pattern and form, a language that maybe we once understood instinctively, but we've forgotten?
Well, that grammar is what we call sacred geometry. And these numbers, 3, 5, and 7, they're not just quantities, not at all. They represent a kind of sacred progression, a code that shows us how the invisible takes form, how that form finds harmony in life, and then ultimately, how life itself returns to pure flowing movement.
All right, so our journey begins with the number 3. This is the very first step out of chaos and into order. It's the fundamental principle of structure.
Think about it geometrically for a second. A single point is, well, it's just pure potential, right? 2 points create a line, a relationship, some tension. But it's with 3 points that something absolutely incredible happens. We get the triangle, the very first enclosed shape, the first truly stable surface. This is literally the birth of intelligible space.
With the number 3, the invisible finally agrees to be seen. In the old initiatory traditions, this was the apprentice's first great lesson, learning to perceive that underlying structure, the blueprint of reality, for the very first time.
Okay, so from static structure, we evolve. We move into embodied harmony with the number 5, and this is where the geometry really starts to come alive.
So, at the heart of the number 5 is the golden ratio, or phi. Now, this is not just some dry mathematical number. It's a living relationship of proportion. Get this. It's where a line is divided so that the longer part divided by the smaller part is also equal to the whole length divided by the longer part. It's the secret formula for growth that never breaks harmony, and you find it everywhere, from nautilus shells to the proportions of the human body. And this brings us to a really common mistake. We tend to think of the golden ratio as some kind of fixed perfection we have to achieve. But the reality? It's way more dynamic than that. It represents a commitment to a continuous process of growth and change, not some final static state.
The pentagram is the perfect physical manifestation of phi. It's incredible. Every single line segment relates to the others by the golden ratio, and it reproduces itself infinitely. You'll find a smaller pentagram appearing right inside the larger one. It's a perfect symbol of living geometry.
So, with the wisdom of 5, you're no longer just that passive apprentice who's observing the blueprint from the outside. No, you become a companion. You start to internalize these principles of harmony. You become an active participant, a co-creator who embodies that living geometry.
And now, we take the final leap. We're moving beyond form, beyond even embodied harmony, and into the pure, transcendent flow of the cosmos with the number 7.
The number 7 marks a really profound shift. Geometrically, you actually can't construct a perfect 7-sided figure using only a classic ruler and compass. The tools of simple, rational order. It resists being fixed. It represents a leap beyond that easily measured world and into a much more dynamic, transcendent reality.
This slide just lays out the whole progression for us. We started with 3, which gave us structure. Then we moved to 5, which gave that structure living proportion, and now we arrive at 7, where that fixed form just dissolves into pure vibration and rhythm.
So, if the pentagram is phi made visible, the golden spiral is phi put into perpetual motion. This is the geometry of 7. It's a process of endless, creative growth that never, ever repeats itself, and it never closes. It really is the shape of life itself, just unfolding through time.
And just look at how this all comes together. For the apprentice, at the stage of 3, truth is a form to be seen. For the companion, at 5, truth is a measure to be learned and embodied. But for the master, at 7, truth isn't a thing at all anymore. It becomes a process to be lived.
So what's the ultimate point of all of this? What's the final destination of this sacred progression? Well, it's probably not what you're thinking.
The goal was never the triangle, or the pentagram, or even the spiral. The true master doesn't identify with any of the shapes. Instead, they learn to inhabit that silent, creative center from which all shapes are born. And that brings us to the most important takeaway of all.
The purpose of this ancient knowledge isn't about becoming a perfect architect who can draw perfect forms. It's about learning how to become a perfect channel, how to let the creative force of reality itself flow right through you without any obstruction.
So I'll leave you with this final question to think about in your own life. Are you focused on constructing a perfect, static identity, a fixed shape? Or is the real work to become a clear and open channel for that creative, living process that gives birth to all forms?